How do humans? Your brother Timothy here on a stroll on a Monday afternoon. Needed to get out the house. I mean, we all need to get out the house, don't we? What we need and what we do can be quite different. Just wanted to talk about how important it is that you do not conform to the idiocracy that is prevailing right now in the world. Now, I understand there are times and places when you have to conform for ease of life, but if possible, do not lower yourself. They say don't dim your light for the sake of others, and this is the exact same thing. There are people making decisions on behalf of everyone that are the wrong decisions, that do not address the root of the issue, and they do not serve the greater good. They serve ignorance and fear, and that is not how we solve crises. Health, which is what this is about, this is a health crisis, right? Apparently, is not what they are addressing. Their guidelines are to cover your breathing apparatus, stay inside, don't do this, avoid contact with other humans, and in England, they gave us half-price McDonald's. They subsidise food, including McDonald's, for half price. That is their solution to a health crisis. The crisis is who is in charge right now. The reason we're in this mess is because the people who are in charge make decisions like this. The people that got us here in the first place are still making choices that are terrible. Someone needs to be the mature adult in the room and come with some balance and a perspective, understanding of how health works. What is going on is they are, one, taking advice from people who they get to choose who they take advice from, because as much as people might dismiss this, as long as you have 100% trust in the mainstream that they, not only do they have your best interests at heart, because they might have your best interests at heart, you have to trust that they actually know what's best. Now that, if you look at the humans in charge, you should know that. Show me one health expert or one person making decisions that is actually an exemplification of health, that exudes health. Show me one that is making these decisions that seems like a balanced human, that seems like they've assessed all of it and brought it together, because that is not what's happening. The people that are making the decisions are not those people. I study health from the field of play, from my own life, from my experiments, not from behind some goggles and lab coats and microscopes. That's where these people study what is going on from, completely in the micro, and not looking at the big picture of things. If COVID is what is happening, that is a symptom of what has gone on in our life, in our world up to this point. The people that are in charge, that are making health decisions, if they were making the right health decisions, we would already be healthy, but they're clearly not. And these are the same people that are making health decisions from this point onwards. We cannot continue to let these people make choices for us, especially when you see how idiotic they are. So, how would I address a health issue? What would I suggest? First off, is to face, and none of this is easy. Here's the reality with health. The harsh reality. Everyone wants to do more to solve it. Most people can go to the gym for an hour a few times a week, and they will happily add that, and they will get addicted to that. And most people can buy organic fruits and vegetables, or a lot of people can, or will, if they're on the health path, will commit to that, or they will buy expensive supplements, and that is they're doing more to be healthy. And truly, the harsh truth about health is about removing the things that are hindering you. And in society today, we are so far from our nature and our history, and there are so many things in our day-to-day lives that are unnatural, that have been processed, that are steps away, that hinder our health. And so it is facing these addictions, which can be food choices, certain processed food choices. And that is different for different people on what intolerances and reactions you have, but you have to be very astute and alert in your own life and observant as to what you do and don't react to. And it's a long ass process, I'm telling you. I've been on this journey and it's long, and I work through things quickly, and that's why I'm where I'm at. But if you're observant, you can do the same too, right? Or you can take advice from the right people, not the wrong people. That's another quick way to do it. But you've got to be observant in your life. And so addressing food choices, and that's not to say always avoid everything. It's okay once in a while, but you have to do things in balance and know when something is an addiction and is a negative lifestyle choice, and when something is just in the moment and is for a social occasion or whatever, and not to make those every day, every week, whatever it is. So addressing addictions, and that can be also TV, that can be the gym, that can be alcohol, cigarettes, coffee. These are daily choices we make that have, if it does something, there's no such thing that you can get like a quick energy fix like people seem to think, or you just take a coffee and then you have energy. No, that's not how it works. It's draining you you're paying for it on the back end, which is what so many things we do. Drugs, same thing, paying for it on the back end. If you're enjoying the moment, paying for it on the back end, so often is the case. It's the humble, it's the steady things, it's the type 2 fun kind of thing where you put the work in first and then earn the rewards. So it's facing addiction. Now point number 2 is that every addiction is attached to an emotion that we do not want to feel, or have blocked up at some point. And so identifying when you cut that thing out that you do every day, that you want to do, that you feel like you have to do, that you validate to yourself every time, and in your heart you know you should not be doing it. When you stop doing that thing, an emotion will start to rise, and you will do that thing to put that emotion back down. Now you have to sit with that emotion and face that emotion and get to the root of that emotion, and not blame others for that feeling, that thing that you're feeling. You cannot blame, you have to own it, truly own it, and find the root cause of that, not just be stuck in anger. You know, if you're angry, go and punch your bed or something for a while, until you maybe break down in a fit of crying and you feel in the pit of your stomach house the true sadness that is inside you, that your anger is a cover-up for that sadness. You have to get to the root emotion. So it's start to process our blocked emotions. This is a huge thing that holds us back as humans. And this is, so many of us are aware of this now when it comes to things, because this isn't like COVID. I just saw a stat. COVID, at the peak of COVID in China, it was the 49th highest cause of death at that time. 49th. And this is becoming, they're trying to make people do what they're doing in the world today and make us live in this idiocracy that is happening. And I'm just done with it. I'm absolutely sick of it. My friends are sick of it. Jamie's sick of it. His cousin committed suicide during this time because there are other issues that this is causing. My friend Leanne in Spain, she's sick of it. Tris is sick of it and all the protocols he's making him put his shop through. Josh and Peter and Lewis, we're all sick of it, man. We're sick of this. And we're sick of the idiots running this show, these jesters. And I'm trying not to get emotional, right? But it is truly, there are idiots running this show. And we need someone to be the adult in the room that understands the nuances and the whole picture of this. And sometimes I feel like I'm one of the few ones that, and if you're watching this, you probably see it too. And someone needs to piece this together, right? So you face your addictions, you start to process your emotions. You spend time in nature. You recognize that this was built, this skin, this hair, this grass, from the same cloth, cut from the same cloth by the same creator. And we like to think that we can meddle with things and get creative, and that's all good until it's not, until it holds you back. So spend time in nature, and it will be soft and gentle, but it will slowly reset you. It's a very important one. Another one, relationships. Work on your relationships. This is with the emotions. This is with not blaming others when we're used to blaming others for our problems. It's starting to own them. It may be cutting certain people out of our lives who are not serving us. It may be listening to the people who are telling us about ourselves that we don't want to hear, but starting to try to understand it from their perspective. It's also working on the most important relationship. Second most important, penultimate relationship, your relationship with yourself. Most important relationship with a higher power. starting to work on that, starting to talk to God, even if you believe in him, her, or not. You got to start asking the questions, because what is going on is totally godless right now. And here's the difference. When I say work on a relationship to God or pray, people say, well, what about these people who believe in God and this happens to them, or this person prays and they don't have... It's like, just because you believe in God, he doesn't just suddenly make you a better person or healthy, or she doesn't make you have everything you want because you prayed for it. That's not how it works. You have to be humble. You have to understand God's truth, and God's truth is telling you about your addictions and your lifestyle choices and your sins that are shown in your body, in your skin, in your organs, in your digestion. The truth of who you are and your emotions and your lifestyle choices and everything is shown in your person, and God's truth is mapped out that way, so you can converse through that, or however you want to converse. But that relationship to God should be worked on. The flip side of that is Satanists, and what is happening, which, you know, yeah, it's the real thing. Does appreciate being worshipped, does give you things for you know, sacrifice, and that's Satanism and not Christianity, because this isn't about religion. Worshipping Satan and worshipping devil, it acts very differently. It works very differently. People, because we're brought up around a much more Satanist culture, people think, oh, just because you're praying, it clearly doesn't work because you're not getting what you want, so therefore prayer doesn't work. Wrong. That's not how prayer works. There's clearly, humility is one of the biggest keys, and if that's not present, then it doesn't even begin. You gotta humble yourself. Gotta come with humility. That is something to start you off on the journey of health in this time. Hey, Bugs. This crazy health crisis that is happening, and the lack of true leadership. We have just got rulers making rules and wanting everyone to follow, and it is so imperative that as much as you can, you do not conform and lower yourself to the ignorance around you that is happening, and you stand in your truth and in your power, knowing that you take full personal responsibility for your health, and knowing that if there are people that have greater risk of this problem, then we need to address why are there people with greater risk, and start going to that, not this avoidance of truth. Society loves to avoid the truth as individuals and as a collective, and it is childish and basic, and we must face the truth of where we are all at in our own lives and our own health and our own relationships. Hey, hello, you can come back. Come on. It's not on. I'm not having it. I'm not having it anymore. I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it. We're done letting these people run the show. Do not conform to the idiots. When they want to show me that they care, they will start addressing the root, and they will start helping these people with health issues from an honest perspective of where it comes from. Not in this low level surface. It's like if someone has spots on their face, they just put makeup to cover it up. That is how we are dealing with COVID, rather than address nutritional elements, emotional elements. We're causing more. Trying to solve it this way is causing more harm, far more harm than is good. We must protect the king. Who is the king that we must protect? Who is the king that we must protect? Protect the king. The king is the children. The children, other than rest in peace, the people who have died in this, who were already at risk, and, you know, moved on to a better place perhaps. The children, the future, are the biggest victims in this. What they are having to grow up thinking is normal is so far from normal. Society's gone insane, and they are raised to think this is how we deal with things. This is how we deal with things. We put 2 meters between us and we cover our mouths. I'm sorry. What world are you in right now? People are still drinking out of plastic like it's not doing something. Put your water in glass. and check your water. Do your own science on your own water. Because there must be something in the water. The way people are not... There's so many intellects and no one with actual intelligence anymore running this shit. And it's done. I'm done with it. I'm done. So, that's my 2 cents. People say, Tim, you've got influence, be responsible. Cool, you're right. It was time to be responsible, so I've decided to speak. Because someone's got to be responsible. Because it's not responsible for what is happening to go on and it not be challenged, and then be no balance brought. Someone needs to bring a balance to this. Someone needs to bring the other's perspective to this, because it doesn't work. It's not worked in the past, and it's continuing not to work. Yeah, I agree. They say cases are going up because the deaths aren't going up. So they focus on whatever language helps them to push whatever they want to push. More masks. It just makes them look like they're doing something because the country's wearing masks, so it looks like they're doing something. But there's not much to do. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't conform. This is be responsible and be true to yourself, true to the reality of what is going on in the society we live in. Unless you have to, and I understand. Because in some countries, it's like people getting thrown in prison. The military are enforcing masks. How's the military enforcing masks, and we're not thinking this is absolutely ridiculous? Our whole rights as humans is getting gone, and this is how they solve it. It is not on. 49th in the peak of it, highest cause of death in China, and we're militarizing, putting masks on people. Guys, we've gone too far. Godspeed.